Hello, everyone. Welcome to Confidence Leads to Success. With me, your host, Elif Köse. Today, we are going to discover the strength within ourselves with my beautiful guest, all the way from Florida. She has gone through a lot of things, but her kindness shows through. And I've got the pleasure of speaking with Pearl Chiarenza. I hope I tell the name right. She's a naturopathic mental fitness life coach, author, and a speaker. She is on a mission to help women prioritize themselves without guilt and become the shiros, which we're going to come back to what that means later. And I really want to share her story and share her message, how women can embrace a positive mindset and overcome life's challenges. I am so excited to explore the fascinating strategies Pearl is going to share with us. Hello, Pearl. Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
It is so good to have you here. Thank you. Honestly, heartfelt thank you. I know you're going through loads and you're very amazing, inspiring woman. And I just want to ask you, like you do amazing thing for women. And I know being a woman myself, we struggle with people pleasing tendencies.
Yeah.
And I'd like to hear your strategies, your tips around how can we overcome the need of constantly seeking validation from others to prioritize our own needs.
Yeah. And I want to share a little bit about my story because I want the listeners to understand that I didn't just come up with this. Like, right. I've sat where they're sitting at right now while they're listening to us, where, I thought I had to do everything for everybody. If my kids needed something, I was like, yes, I'm all in. If the PTA needed something, I'm going for it. If my friend was doing a fundraiser, I said yes to everybody and realized in 2015, when my oldest was going to college, that I wasn't showing up for myself. I actually was in an identity and destiny course. It was a 6-week course I was doing for myself. And at the end, we had to write our I am statement. And I was still saying that I was a mom, I was a wife. But my friend that I met in the course looked across from me and she's like, I still don't hear Pearl in there. And by the way, don't you have another son? Because I talked about my oldest so much. And it was an eye opener and saying, wow, you're right. I still don't get this. After 6 weeks, I was still struggling. And so I decided in 2015, I dropped my son off at college. I went and reconnected with my youngest son and tried to rebuild and improve on that relationship and decided I had to do something. And the first thing I did is I had to learn to say no. And I was like, how can I do that? So I actually got a pebble. It was a little rock and I would put it in my pocket. If I didn't have pockets, I put it in my bra strap. And if you asked me to do something, I had to really think about it because I committed to myself that I had to move that rock 3 times in that day to say no to something. So that meant I
Uh-huh.
really had to think about, do I really want to do this? Is it really something that aligns with what my goals and my visions are? And as I was doing that, I learned that I started showing up for me. I
Oh
started
my
saying,
God, I love that. Tell me again, you had to move it only 3 times? Like was that your limit?
so no, I mean, I would move it more, but because I was such a people pleaser, I committed to 3 times a day. I had to move it by saying no to something. So if Elif, if you
Ah.
asked me to do something, I had to be like, is it really going to line up? Like, is it something I want to do? Is it beneficial for both of us to do this together? And will I show up for you if I say yes? Because we say yes oftentimes because we don't want to hurt our friends, right? We say yes so excited.
I love that. I'm gonna do that so much. I say yes to everything. Oh my God, Pearl, I love you.
I love it. So and to think about it, like look at your smile. We say yes so excitedly. When we say no, we crawl up in this ball of, oh,
I
they're not
feel
gonna like me.
guilty. I
Yes, I
feel
was gonna say they don't like
guilty.
me. Yep, we feel guilty. Oh, what if they're gonna
Yeah.
think I'm selfish, right? And what was happening is I was finding myself saying yes to things that I wanted to do, but the bigger picture, I was allowing the door to open for other people. Because if I said no to you, Elif, I was like going, you know what? I thank you so much for offering me this opportunity. And it's just not something that I'm aligned with right now. And sometimes I would know somebody that I could be like, hey, can I refer my friend so and so to you? Or somebody else they knew that they were going to ask next. was really wanting to do it. So think about this for the listeners is when you say yes to something you don't want to do, truly, you don't show up 100%, you're not all into it, and you kind of have some resistance of doing the things you
It
need to
is
do.
so true. I often say yes to doing certain things because I feel it's my duty. I feel like I've got to show up. And then I leave, let's say if it's an event, I leave the room feeling rubbish, come home feeling I wasted 3 hours, but I showed up. I didn't say no. Oh, I am so doing that.
Yes. And here's the epiphany that's happened to me. So that was 2015 that I started this, okay? Last year, 2022, in July, we lost our 25-year-old son to a tragic accident.
I'm
And there
sorry.
was so many, thank you. But I look back, and because I had those years and those opportunities to learn to say no to things, I was able to find myself doing more with my boys that I truly was doing and not just being like, okay, hurry up. We got to get this done because I got to go to this event. Right. We were truly doing things together. So there's so many
You
benefits that
almost
come.
take away when you are people pleasing the like I call it third persons, but I'm sure the listeners are getting me when I say that. You're actually taking away from your biggest why you do these work for. It is
Right.
really, really, really important.
Yes. Yes. It's so, so important because, when you don't show up, first of all, let me just say, when we come into this world, we have these gifts, we have these tools and talents that are already given to us, whoever you believe in, whether it's God, a higher being, whatever that is, it's already in your DNA, right? So we have to work on that. And if we don't work on it and we do things for everybody else, then you're cheating yourself of that talent and what that talent can bring and the joy that it can bring you. But here's the bigger picture. You're cheating me because I don't get the benefit of the talent, the tools, and the expertise you have in that field that you have that maybe I needed help with my business. Maybe I needed help with working out, right? Whatever that is, maybe I needed somebody to help me learn to organize my home, right? If you are great at organizing, but you don't work on it, then you're probably have a house that's not very organized, and then I can't hire you to help me organize my home. So show up for yourself, say no to others, put a pebble in your pocket, move it 3 times a day, and your life will be empowerment.
I love it. Honestly, definitely being, going to be one of those women who are doing that. But I'm sure our listeners will be like, I needed to hear this because I
Have to
think
send me pictures.
as
I want
women,
pictures.
pictures of the stone moving around me. But you are so right when you say that. I don't know if you're like that, but you're telling me now that you used to, but you're now more selective. And I now feel even more privileged that you're with us today, that you said yes to us. And I'm so grateful that what we're doing to help women find confidence within themselves and is aligning with your message. This is why we're in the same space right now. It is so good. But I often say yes to I sometimes, like you say, take away from organizing my house to have a more family time with my son and with my husband. I end up saying yes to a friend who needs my support or just a chit chat with me. I say yes to her, and then I end up sparing my time and spending less quality time with my family. And I just look at it now when you say that, it really hit me. It's really, I take away from them. They love me unconditionally, you know?
Absolutely. Yes.
I just, it was one of my wishes about 7 years ago. I was like, one day I made a wish, like I wanted an unconditional love. And 2 years later, I become a mother, and that's where it was. But now it really hit me. I need to say more no's, not just 3 times.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing too is that not just saying you have to say yes to yourself too. Like even setting boundaries around the things you do with your family and your friends and the things you're saying yes and no to, because you also have to make sure in your day you're doing something for yourself. And it could be as simple as sitting out on a front porch on a swing, maybe going up to the park and just going for a walk. But you have to also be showing up for yourself because here's the thing. I know, as I shared with you, you're not promised tomorrow. Like literally, I was talking to my son and we said, we love you. He called us at like 12:20 in the morning and we said, text when you get home. And he never texts. So he never made it home. And the thing is that what I say to my clients when I work with them is that if for some reason your time on this earth ended in the next 30 seconds and all your family and friends could say about you at your eulogy is what they saw you do for yourself, not what you did for everybody else, but what did you do for yourself? What would they say? What would they stand up there and say as they remember you? And I can tell
Oh my God, it's so good, Pearl. That's
it's really
so good.
powerful. It's
Very
really powerful.
powerful.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. I mean, self-care is essential, and it is certainly on top of my list. I mean, don't take me wrong when I say I'd never say not enough no's, but I gave up drinking at the beginning of lockdown. And when the lockdown came back, I had got so close to drinking because the social pressure, and I kept saying no to people who would push me to drink, who would make me feel like because I'm not drinking, it would be like I would be not so much fun anymore, friend. I have actually lost few friends because I'm no more fun, they call me, but I am, you wouldn't know if I'm not drinking in the room because I'm always so fun and crazy and upbeat.
And
But
but that's the point is when you start showing up for yourself, people around you that don't support in you and doing that, they're going to disappear. They're not meant to
mm,
be. I have a great friend named Lisa. They're not meant to be what she calls your balcony people, right? They're not
mm,
meant to be on your balcony anymore. And sometimes that's okay. And that includes your family. I mean, I grew up a daddy's girl. I had to cut my dad off from my life because my oldest son, Matthew, he was adopted. He was mixed race. And when my son got older, my dad turned very racist towards my son. And I was
oh
like,
dear.
that's not acceptable. That's a boundary I won't put up with. And so even, as we look at our lives, sometimes not just our friends, but sometimes our family can't be in our playground. I had a great priest one time told me my parents were going through a divorce after 43 years of marriage, and I felt torn. And he's like, listen,
Mm,
we don't pick our parents, God picks our parents, but you have your life rules. And if they can't play by the rules, it's your ball game of life. Sit them on the bench. And if they can't keep the rules, and they just have to sit in the bench, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you don't love them. We love our friends, we love our family. It just means you love yourself more, and you're not going to put up with certain behaviors that are not good for you. And like what you said, I have a friend right now doing the same thing. And I said to her, I said, she's not drinking. And then she's like, when my sister comes, I might have a drink. I'm like, why? If you're not doing it now, just because they come,
yeah,
and if they can't accept that, then you need to reevaluate who you're
yeah.
hanging and who is
It's so
supporting.
true. I always, when I first gave up drinking, it was like, oh, come on, have a drink. And my response was always, would you tell to a vegetarian, oh, come on, we have the barbecue on, have a steak? Would you ask that to a vegetarian?
Right. Or
No.
think about a
Why?
diabetic. What about a diabetic? Would you tell a diabetic to eat that donut when you know it could kill them? No.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
I made those choices to not drink, but it's just like the societal pressure was actually making me keep on my word until nobody cared anymore.
Yeah.
Now
And yeah,
I have the option.
right. I was gonna say, and you have the option, and that's a lot where I coach on is those saboteurs and those judges. We have our own saboteurs and our own judges. We have those
Mm,
things that come up and tell us, like we're talking about saying no. Well, you're not, you're not supportive. You're selfish. All these
mm.
things come up. Or like with you, the example of the drinking. Well, you don't want to be part of our social realm, and all these
You're
saboteurs and
not fun.
not
Yeah.
fun, right? They come in here, and I love coaching on that positive intelligence of recognizing when that judge is showing up. I like to say, I like to help you turn off the negative and turn on the positive, right? And so when that negative thought comes up, when I coach and work with my clients, I give them the tools to say, up, you're gonna name that saboteur and judge. So her name is Betsy. So if Betsy shows up, I'm like, yep, Betsy, we're not friends right now. We're not having that conversation right now. You're not allowed in my headspace right now. So it's like that stopgap, right? And so
Oh.
it's so powerful. And And to recognize that with our friends too. I have a great friend who everywhere we went, people would see us together. And something happened and her ethics were not aligning up with what I believe in. And I was like, you know what? This is not going to work. If we can't agree on this, this is really powerful for me. And again, friends and people come into our lives for a season. And I just looked at it and said, I think our season's done because this is not acceptable for me. And I don't want to project that kind of belief out there by this behavior. So that saboteur and that judge would have told me before, that people pleaser, come on, just make it work with a pearl. You don't want to lose a friend. But no, I knew that it wasn't something that aligned with my beliefs and what I want for my mission for myself and my goals. So it's really powerful.
Beautiful. That clarity comes down to clarity and having that clarity. Right, I'm going to come back to the beginning of our conversation that you call that you often talk about like being your own shiro. Can you explain what it means to be a shiro, like, and how embracing this concept can empower us in our
Yeah,
lives?
absolutely. So everything we're talking about, as I went through this process, is how the word shiro came up. And the reason why is as you can start recognizing those saboteurs and judges that hold you back from the things you want to achieve, you become stronger and be able to say no, stronger in saying that doesn't align up with me. You get this strength. And as you get that strength, those muscles build up and you're feeling good about it. So then what happens is because you become stronger and you're saying no to things that don't align with you, you become happier because you're starting to do the things you like to do. You're starting to spend time with your family. You're starting to spend time on a business you wanted to do. All those things start aligning up. And then what happens is as you're stronger and you're happier, you become empowered. Not only are you empowered to say no, but you're empowered to be like, I want this and I'm going forward and nothing's getting in my way, right? And so as that happens, then what happens is you become radiant, or as a guest on my podcast said, you glow up, right? You walk in a room and people are like going, Elif, what's so different about you? Like, did you lose weight? Did you cut your hair? Like you have this whole new aura about yourself. And then as that happens, you become that original person, that original self. As I said before, that core of that person, that DNA that was created in you, that starts to shine through. And that originality, people call it being your authentic self, but it's one thing to be authentic, but it's another thing to walk in it. And you start walking in that original authentic self of who you are. And you have confidence to say, nope. You have confidence to say yes. You have confidence to say, I'm taking a staycation. I'm going away by myself. Confidence is so powerful in becoming that shiro that you are. And that's where the word shiro came from. Because
I love it.
Yeah. And people often say, fill your cup first and overflow it. I love to say, when you're a shiro, you're putting your cape on so tight around yourself that now you have that extra part to hug somebody in and bring somebody in and help support them. But if you can't wrap yourself up first in that cape, you're not going to show up for your friends. You're not going to show up for your family, and you're not going to be there for yourself and what you want to do for your vision and your goals. And if you
So
don't
true.
live for your visions and goals, what are you living for? Like, what is your meaning for getting up in the morning? Right? So
I
that's
know, but this is the thing. This is one of the biggest reasons I started this interview series, because there are thousands and hundreds and thousands of women out there still not living their dream life. They're not free emotionally and financially, and the whole idea of confidence leads to success, and helping them find that inner confidence to believe in themselves so much that there is nothing can stop them. That's your what you're saying is really like giving them guideline how to say no, how to focus on your own needs and wants before you can actually help. It's the cliche saying of put the oxygen mask on you first
right.
before you put it on your own child.
Yeah, it's exactly why I created our Shiro method. We have a 4-month course that we go through, and we start at the basics. We start at the basics. Where do you have to really start showing up for yourself? And then we walk through that entire roadmap. When you get in a car, you can't just turn the car on. You got to got gas. You got to have a battery. So we work through getting your engine all set up, being yourself, and so that you can start driving down that road of who
Mm.
you want to be and the success that you have waiting for you. It's there. You just got to reach for it. You just got to grab it. You got to address your saboteurs. You got to you got to address your judges, and you got to take care of yourself at the same time.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But the one last question I'm going to ask you is because so many women deny that they are in this level, that they need help. They're denying that they need to go through that, for instance, your 4 months program to become their own shiro. How could we help these women to really look into themselves and be honest to themselves so they accept they need the help to move forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what we have to first do is ask ourselves, are we really happy with where we are today? And if the
Mm,
answer is no, then we hire attorneys for things that we need. We hire doctors to help us get healthier. There's nothing wrong in hiring a coach and just saying, I need help. I need guidance. I need to find out how to go from this feeling of I don't have time, I'm not worthy, my family won't understand if I start putting myself. How do you do that? And that's showing up. That's just reaching out to a coach, a mentor or somebody and just saying, how do you do it? How do you start saying no to others and just reach out for that help? I would
right.
also, I challenge affirmations. A friend of mine, we had this conversation. And so we get in the mirror, and if you can look in the mirror every morning and ask yourself, self, am I happy with where I am today? And if the answer is no, then you need to reach out to somebody for help. And don't worry about your family and your friends. That's something we help you communicate. That's one of the part of our program is the core, communicating our realistic expectations. And we help you do that. We help how to communicate to our family and friends that just because I'm putting myself first doesn't mean I don't love you. Actually, you
Mhm.
love them so much, you're putting yourself first. And that's what we have to think
Beautiful.
in our head. We love ourselves so much. I have to do something to change how I'm feeling, or I'm not going to be happy.
Beautiful. I love this conversation so much, but we're coming to the end of our time together, and I don't want to keep holding you, but I am sure our listeners are loving it and finding so much wisdom. I certainly am going to put that stone in my pocket and send you some photos as I move them. It's so good, Pearl. It's been an absolute honor to have you.
It's been
And
awesome.
thank you so much. And I just want to say to everyone who's listening, I'm going to put all the details for Pearl and how you can get into her community, get her support. If you feel like you need to become your own Shiro and it's time that you want to say yes to you, this woman is wonderful. And I am so lucky to have met you and be on this journey together that we're trying to make a difference in the world.
Absolutely. I've had a blast. And it's okay, I can share a quiz if they want to see where they're showing up in their lives. There's
Yes,
a free quiz.
please.
Okay, awesome. So get a pen and paper if you're listening. I want you to go to pearlsurvey.com/PQ quiz. So that's PEARLSSURVEY.com/PQ quiz. And then that will show
Beautiful.
you where you're showing up in your life and who is sabotaging you.
We will also put that on the show notes if you haven't caught that up and you keep taking back the recording and listening again. We'll put it on the show notes. You can take it off, then straight click and go to this exact page and find your true hero, Shiro. Thank you, Pearl. It's been great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone who has been here with us till the end and who wants to know more about empowerment, compassionate leadership, and confidence. Keep tuning in. We have got amazing, amazing conversations are happening and stories are worth sharing so that you start believing in yourself and go for that dream of yours. Till next time, goodbye.